Well, I'm going to try to turn this around. Then I don't know how this is going to look. I'm doing the best I can, like I said, with what I have. Edward Snowden is a very nice man. So the last thing I want to do is take any credit away from him whatsoever. All I want to say is his is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. If people want to go back and at least they can tell where some of the database is, what's on it, um, it's like putting a puzzle together. Well, it's done in patterns, the murders, and they were deliberately done that in patterns. So you would think at one point this would all be told. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I hope so. But Edward Snowden himself had to either be a product of mind control to get in there and gather the specific information and everything that he got, or the only other way is if somebody with so much power was talked to him and was able to get him in and remain anonymous. So I don't know. But I'll tell you what his actions on where he went, but his name is what I want to say most of all, and it involves a timeline. But the Edward comes from my father's name, Edward the Eighth, and Snowden, I believe it's got one letter of difference. Snowden, Snowen. But Snowden goes back to Elizabeth, who's the illegal monarch. Her father helped kidnap me, and she's kept it up, believe me. She traded in Great Britain, and she's living on my money and our hell. She's a traitor. But her sister was named Margaret, too. That's my name, Margaret Ann Windsor. I was given the name of Peggy Dempsey Childers, a twin that was dead when they brought me over here. Both twins were dead, and I grew up. I still have to use that name unless I can get mine back before I die. But the Edward comes from my father's name. The Snowden comes from Elizabeth's younger sister. Her name was Margaret. My name is Margaret. Victoria II is my title, but Margaret Ann Windsor. Um, so Margaret, this is there's two Margarets in this. Margaret is the sister to Elizabeth, and then I'm Margaret, the only daughter of King Edward the Eighth, and my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. So there's two Margarets. Margaret, sister of Elizabeth, and daughter to the man who kidnapped me, George the Sixth, the brother. Rotten. What kind of brother would do that? I mean, come on, people. Take down his brother illegally with help with lies and kidnap his own niece so he could be wealthy and be king forever. That's what he was promised by the Illuminati or the New World Order, the Kennedys, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergers. So now then I'm back to Elizabeth and Edward Snowden. And then Margaret is her sister, and they were the only two children. And Margaret is dead, but she was married to Anthony Armstrong Jones. He was a photographer, and she made way that gave him the title of Snowden. I believe it was Lord Snowden. So that's where they're getting the Edward Snowden from. And again, in no way do I want to take away any credit from him. He's a good man, and thank goodness he was able to do it. But I've said what I've said. He fits into the patterns, and he was either under mind control himself, or someone personally went to him and guided him through getting it. So I won't say. He just fits in the patterns. So that's the tip of the iceberg. The real weapon is mind control. Now, it's so widespread now. I don't know where the end goes, because I've been told that in the end of it, only one person can. It'd be like a war going off, because somebody's going to get zapped. And if you don't, I was telling about this in 77, 78 and writing a book about it. So look how advanced it's gotten, and you won't hear it by the media. The only one that I'm aware of who's part of it is premium radio out of Los Angeles with George Norrie. Art Bell was the one that started telling it. And you can go on YouTube and just punch in mind control, and you'll get all kinds of information. What I'm saying is, when I wrote about it in '77, and this went before Congress, the MK Ultra using it. Congress give them a slap on the wrist and turn them loose. So Congress doesn't know. You better get yourself. Well, they do. They do. Believe me, they know a whole bunch that they aren't telling. But then, my experience is, most people here don't want to hear it. And I was told by the FBI in '82 that, and he faked yawning. He said, "You know what they do with what you're telling them?" And he yawned. He said, "You bore them."